back with group 2. In group 2, we have Shubhra and Anusha from the affirmation side and Ashia and Kashish from the negative side. So affirmation side, please begin with your constructive speeches.
I would like to start off by introduction and basic understanding. I would like to argue for the case because science is the foundation for everything in our universe. Every action has a reaction. This proves that there's a cause for every decision we make. Our brain electrically processes any action before we react, which means, like, for example, moving our hand or making a decision. It uses past data to form an analysis, eventually arriving at a conclusion. So, using this scientifically proven fact, can we arrive at a conclusion that every action that we have made was pre-decided by our past actions? Every action was pre-decided, and this pre-decided action crafts future actions, therefore rendering the term free will meaningless. I would like to take reference from Robert Kane to support my argument, who is a University Distinguished Teaching Professor at the University of Texas. He said that we do not have to assume that science is deterministic, as Kant did, to arrive at a conclusion that free choices cannot be explained by science. I really liked his reference as it completely proves the topic that we are discussing on. Science uses determinism, as Kant did, to prove that obviously past actions create future actions. Now I would like to take up my contention 1, physics and science and the universe around us. From view from science, perspective within space and time, if free choices were not determined, then they would appear to be merely random events, such as quantum jumps in atoms. Either way, determined or random, there would not be free choices. This states that if every activity wasn't pre-decided, it would occur randomly without any relation to any other happening. It would also mean that this activity wouldn't contribute in future activities. As we all know, every single phenomena can be explained by science. Even if our resources aren't as developed and our knowledge isn't as vast, there will still always remain a reason behind everything. I would like to take biology and science and the human body as my contention too. If we observe everything around us, we can see that everything is interdependent and interrelated. Free will states that an individual's actions are created on the spot without any connection to any other doing. It defines that any choice made has no relation with any other encounter or information. Let us take the human body as an example. Science has clearly proven that human genes are passed from their parents or predecessors. If someone in your family has brown eyes, then obviously there are great chances that you also will inherit those brown eyes. These genomes act as a data repository, so the genomes that a child inherits from his or her parents would embed certain traits that would influence his or her decisions throughout his or her life under certain conditions. Doesn't this have any similarity with past actions create future actions theory? Obviously it does. The adult brain is a 1.3 kilogram mass of jelly-like tissues made up of billions of neurons. And all those neurons consist ultimately of atoms, obeying the exact same laws of physics as everything else in this universe. In the end of my constructive speech, I would like to say that everything that happens in a physical universe, such as ours, must necessarily have an inevitable cause. Thus, this means that for any decision we make, we could not have done otherwise. So in the end, I pen down by saying, science has proved that originally we had no true choice and free will.
Science leaves no room for free will. Yes, indeed. The science does so by virtue of its proven universal laws. Science, by definition, is the intellectual and the practical activity involving systematic studies of the structure and behavior of physical and natural world through experiment and observation. Science is a systematically organized body of knowledge which provides universally proven facts. If we talk about free will is practically an illusion of the human conscious that makes the human believe that the choices he makes are on the spot without any such influence he's past, which itself is wrong. Human brain can easily be ignored, but on the test of time, with logical reasoning, the scope of free will is denied or nullified completely. So I would like to put my contention 1. Free will cannot overcome the laws of physics. If one has to prepare a map for a home or a building, she or he has to undergo some given parameters. denominator, which is none other than the laws of physics, like how much area we have to give for one room, which cannot be ignored. And if ignored, that building or house will not be built. Neuroscience. Neuroscience can be contradictory to free will or can explain the decision taken by the brain. There is a very renowned experiment by a guy called Vidit. He asked people sitting on EEG machine to make the movement by their fingers and simultaneously keep a glance at clock, but he was also keeping a check but what was going in their mind. He observed that there was 200 milliseconds delay before the urge to move and 500 milliseconds before the urge to move, even before the decision making. And also, he could observe some specific ranges. So this experiment simply states that today decisions comes from our mind and free will is just an illusion. Here I want to compare mirage with free illusion. Like free will is completely an illusion, mirage is also an illusion. The difference is that mirage are an optical illusion to our eyes. Similarly, the concept of free will is an illusion to the human mind. You will be shocked to know that even science makes us faster. The scientific theory behind Ekadashi. According to Hindu legends, we the Hindus observe Ekadashi to obtain moksha and salvation. During this time period, it is preferred to the owner-dependent fruits and the food material which do not contain much quantity of carbohydrates and starch. It is because it takes almost 3 to 4 days for our food to reach our brain. Basically, the intake of food should be light so that it reach to our brain on the same time. Because on the days of the Ekadashis, the moon exerts high pressure which creates imbalance in everything. So, light food is preferred. We the